Just set your iPads down, okay, and take a look up here. I'm going to go over, we're going to look at the website here real quick and just point out a few things for you, okay? So here you've got the home page that you'll go to, just gives a little bit of information and then a picture of the cover of the book, okay? And then under there, our online guidelines, so just a reminder, right, of how we behave online, that you had signed that pledge at the beginning of the year. Be kind, okay? Observe Christian behavior and etiquette towards each other. Okay? You shouldn't be, no improper use in the discussion area of bullying people or saying things that are inappropriate. But be aware, yeah, that's another part. Anything you put on the internet, anybody can read, except in the discussion groups. The nice thing about that is that I've got very secure, and the only people who can see those comments are you guys and anybody's email I put in there. So you guys don't have to be worried about that. Okay? But again, it will live forever on the internet. So again, be safe if anybody contacts you via the internet or you think there's somebody who shouldn't be there. Let us know as the teachers. Okay? There's a few other things regarding homework, but that's probably going to be more for kids who are taking it from afar. Okay, but it just talks about some group discussion, final projects, PDFs, and chapter assignments. Okay, there's a message board that'll update usually before each day that we have a class. So you can go on here, you can kind of see about our assignment, what it's going to be, or some other maybe notes that I can add there. Here in the assignment section, we've got pre-reading assignments, and I'm breaking them up into 2 chapters at a time. Except for the last 3, we'll combine all this. So we don't just do one chapter by itself. Okay. A final project. I'll bring that up here. In the end, when we're done, you're going to have a final project. So I've given some ideas that you could do. You could choose one of these. Okay. Some of them are more paper and pencil. We've also got some iPad-based ones that you can look through. So look through those on the site. Okay. And and if you have any other great ideas, sometimes you guys might have great ideas too, right? Say, hey, here's a good idea that I'd like to do. If that's the case, tell me about it. But you need to start thinking about it right now, okay? Because we got a little calendar here, and the due dates. Okay, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, basically we'll be working on this. Okay. And you can see the final project is due just before the last day of school before Christmas break is December 20. So we finish chapters 15, 16, and 17 here on Friday the 13th. And then your final project is due that next Wednesday. Okay? So, you guys need to make sure you have that stuff done by then. Having a good time. It's so funny. No one wants to say anything. It might be recorded. Anyways, okay, final project is due right here. And if we go back to final project, you notice there's a final project prospectus. And I'll bring that up here. Okay, you need to tell me what is the purpose. Because sometimes I think what you guys do is you come up with a project and then it's just kind of haphazardly put together on the last day before it could be done. And you really don't have a goal. And you're not really accomplishing what we're setting out to accomplish. So before you can start on your final project, you just got to quick fill this sheet out and either email it to me or print it off and write out my hand and give it to me. But I need to see what your plan is, and so that you can see you have a clear vision in mind. Okay? So calendar, due dates, class recordings. Here we'll post the audio. So if you're somebody, I'll have that done ahead of time. If you, like Katie said, she likes to listen to the story. Well, she can listen to the story and follow along. Okay? Or also, for those who are a long ways off, they can watch. I'll post here the recordings of the lectures. Narnia. Here's just a map a supposed map of the land of Narnia, just so we kind of get an idea where things are. The author of this book is C.S. Lewis. We'll come back to him in a little bit here. But there's some links to different sites about him. Very interesting man. Character page here is blank because you're going to be doing some group work, okay, with another person. And you're going to create some content that we're going to post on here about each character, okay, that we come across, or the main characters that we feel are important. Okay. Then there's your group discussion area, Okay? I will post a question and send an email link to you, and then you can go ahead and respond to that question. Okay? So, you guys who did Bud Not Buddy, you know what that's all about. We did it last time, right? You remember that, Garrett?
No.
Bud Not Buddy. You forgot all this stuff already?
What?
Anyway, we'll get there. Oh, I was only going to look at final projects. Once you post, do your final project, and this page will go ahead and display that for everyone to be able to see, because you guys can see what's done here. But the students that aren't here won't be able to see that, so we'll do that for them as well. Okay. So this is the website. Good idea right now, since you have it up on your iPad, is to go ahead and save it as a bookmark there. So if you hit the little square box with the up arrow, okay, it's over on the upper left-hand side of your iPad. And then you can see in there one of the options will be to add it as a bookmark. Okay, you can tap that and save it. So it's easy to get to the site whenever you need to. Maybe Katie or Garrett can lean over and help you where that little square box is. Yeah, I do the same thing. You always look over on the right-hand side first, right?
It has a book with a bookmark.
Yep, so it looks like, but that's where you go to find one. All right, let's talk a little bit here about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay, it was written by a gentleman named C.S. Lewis. Okay? It's part of a series of books called the Chronicles of Narnia. How many of you have read any of the books in the Chronicles of Narnia? How many of you have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Not sadly watched it.
I've never read it.
I watched it and
So
read
just
I read
it.
it and watched it.
I listened to it.
All right, there you
I've
go.
just seen all the movies.
All right, so the Chronicles of Narnia are a group of 7 books. This is actually not the first book in the series. Okay, there's another one that comes before. If you go to the library here at school, I believe we have almost all of them. But it's going to take place because it's called the Chronicles of Narnia, it takes place in a land called Narnia. Okay? And it is a series of fantasy books. And usually that's not something that a lot of you pick up. A lot of you like to pick up some of the historical fiction novels, or, well, with the exception of you, Garrett. Garrett loves his fantasy books and his science fiction books. But the rest of us, it's not something that we naturally pick up because, again, something that's a little bit foreign to us as Christians. We know there's not magic in the world. Anything that happens is by the power of God. There, it's a miracle that was done by God. But the idea of magic and witches and sorcerers, that's just not. So Grant doesn't deal in that. He doesn't dress up at Halloween like a witch, right? Okay, we don't do that. So a lot of that, because of that, a lot of times you don't pick up a lot of fantasy books per se. Okay? But this is a series of fantasy books. It's make-believe. We've got talking animals. Okay, we've got other things going on, but we've got humans interacting with those talking animals. Therefore, it's a fantasy book. It's going to follow 4 children that we're going to meet. Okay. Now, here's a little bit more written by C.S. Lewis. He's a British author, which is going to make some of the language, just like we were talking about with Redwall, a little bit foreign to us. So we're going to focus on that as we go through it. Okay? C.S. Lewis is also known as a Christian writer, though. He wrote a lot of books, not only for children, but might be fit better into the adult section where the depth of the books of symbolism there is very deep. And he used that symbolism throughout many of his writings. That's why, one reason why we're going to be reading Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. What's symbolism? Anybody got a clue? Jesse. Never mind. What's symbolism? Joe.
Well, this one is sort of like Christ dying on the cross, right?
Well, kind of. We'll get to there.
But
what is just symbolism? Why? What is that? Anybody can define it. What's the definition? Emma, you're going to raise your hand? Oh, now no one wants
I
to
know
talk.
what it is,
because
but I
it's
don't know
being
how to say it.
Oh. Can somebody give an example of symbolism in a book? Maybe Joel, he's starting to think along those lines. Can you? What's an idea of symbolism?
Another book?
No, from this book. That's fine.
Oh, well, the lion is well, he's like symbolizing Christ.
Okay.
He gets like dead, and then he raises up from the dead again.
Okay. Joe's right. This book has a lot of symbols, and that's one of the big symbols is, okay, with the lion. But the question is, what is symbolism? Okay? It's basically when an author will take something that's maybe not human, could be human sometimes, and they will have it portray something else. So in this case, Joe's exactly right. We're going to be portraying the Bible, and that's what C.S. Lewis did. Now, when a lot of people asked him about that, he would kind of dance around the question or kind of not answer it or even deny it sometimes. But a lot of his writings are very Christian-based. Okay? So again, it's an adventurous fantasy of 4 children. So those of you that like adventure, right, Grant? Put it away for right now. Okay? If you like adventure, okay, kids going on adventure, it might be something for you. But in the book, we're going to find good versus evil, okay, which is, again, as you see there, sin and salvation. Salvation being good, sin being evil. And we're going to see those things working against each other in the book. And as Joe said there, one of the purposes that we find in the symbolism here from Mr. Lewis is the necessity of Christ's atoning sacrifice for man's deliverance forward. So in order for us to be saved, we needed Christ's atoning. Okay? So here are some things that you're going to do, and I'll go back to the website and show you where you can find these things. But your assignment is, there's a biography of C.S. Lewis that's on the website. It's a short 1-page biography. What is a biography? Courtney. Correct, a book. But we're not going to write a whole book. So then what might a biography be? Well, how many of you have read a book and in the back, sometimes what's on the back page?
The description of the author.
Description of the author. Is it short or long, Garrett?
It's about 2 or 3 paragraphs.
All right, it's not too long. That's what we're looking for here. So you're going to read his biography so that you learn a little bit about him, and then using that as a model, you're going to write your biography. A little bit of information about yourself and your life. I was born here. Now, I know a lot of this is, you go, well, what do we got? I know, who are my brothers and sisters? What are things I'm interested in? Now, some of you have moved a few times, so maybe you can write a memory or something. So you want to fill in a lot of details, okay? And then on Friday, you'll bring your biographies here to class, and we'll share them with the rest of the class. Okay? So that's one thing that you're going to have to do. The other thing is there's a page on the website called the pre-reading assignment. It's got a few things, questions for you to answer, and also a coloring page for you to do. Because a lot of the characters, oh, I see there's some excitement here. A lot of the characters, okay, in the Chronicles of Narnia are something that we're not used to. And we're going to come across those terms and we're going, now what is that? Okay? Now we'll have a visual. So what we'll do is we'll take all of your coloring pages when you get done, and I'll scan them all, and I'll put them up on the website so that we can all see them and go, okay, now I know what that is when we come across a dryad, or what is that? Oh, Centaur. What are those things? Okay?
I don't know these things.
Courtney. How long is a piece of string? As long as you need it to be, right? We'll show you. We'll show you the example, and your lives. You know, you've only been alive 13 years for you, so not going to be a ton of information, but hopefully you've got a few interesting stories. All right, so we'll show here. We'll go right back to the website, and here we go to the pre-reading assignment page, and here you can download the biography of C.S. Lewis, and here's your actual pre-reading assignment. Now this here, the pre-reading lecture PowerPoint, that's for, I just showed you the PowerPoint, but that's for the students who are a long ways away who might be watching this, so that they can follow along there. But then there are the 5 different coloring pages that we have here. Centaur, Minotaur, Dryad, Naiad, Satyr. Okay? So you can download one of these here. So I've got some of the example. Here's C.S. Lewis's biography. Okay? And it looks a little big here, so we'll minimize it a little bit so you can see. It only takes up about half of a page. Garrett's right, just a few paragraphs here. We've got 4. Obviously, it tells about his birth and growing up, going to college, okay, his older life, and then finally his retirement and death. Obviously, we aren't going to have that for you guys or this part, so your focus is on the first two. Okay, you're comfortable with that, Joe? You can handle that. Okay. And the other one here is just your coloring page that you can print off. One of these guys here. Okay, this is centaurs and
Half human, half horse.
correct. And you got to color that, and you got to turn it in. So all this is due Friday. I need a biography from you.
Those guys are beat.
I need the coloring page,
They'll kill you.
and here's a pre-reading assignment. Here we'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So the first one here is look up myth and word mythology in a dictionary. You can do that. Here are some of the coloring pages, and I've taken care of that. You don't have to go out and find those there. Because C.S. Lewis lives in England, you're going to start some place where you're going to write down the words that are unfamiliar to you. Okay, we'll do that on paper because you'll probably be following along on your iPads. And finally, here we have about C.S. Lewis and the idea of symbolism. Okay, and you're going to write down some of the characters and what objects they're meant. So we're going to need a sheet of paper or a notebook or someplace to write these things down to keep track of them. Emma.
For the biography part, do you use I or do you use your own name?
Do you write in the first person or the third person, you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Let's write in the third person. So you're writing so you would be writing Emma,
I'd write.
okay? And actually what we'll probably do on Friday is have other people read it for you.
Well, I want to read my own.
Courtney.
Is there certain colors we have to color these coloring papers? Yeah.
I don't know what the correct colors are, and neither do you, so go ahead and just use your imagination. Now the grass should be green, right? The trees should be brown. But if he's a little purple or pink, I don't know. Katie.
I've seen them. Do we color on the iPad?
No, print them off, and we'll color them. Garrett.
A fawn and a satyr are actually basically the same thing.
They're pretty close.
They are the same thing. It's just
Where do you
satyr's
find
Greek.
the color?
Right, but we won't. That's why we don't have a fawn coloring page. All right, hang on. We got another question from Katie.
Should we print off all the coloring pages?
Pick one that you would like to do. Yeah, you get to pick one of the 5. That's part of here. Okay, just list below, look up in the dictionary and cycle. Draw and color pictures of one or more. So, Katie, if you're really excited about that and you really want to do all 5, well, that's up to you. But your assignment is you only need to do one. Okay? So on Friday, you got to come here with a biography, a coloring page done. Okay? And then over here, you started a little notebook where you can define mythology and a myth. And you're going to start having a page that you can write down unfamiliar terms, and another page where we can begin to write down the characters. Okay? Courtney?
How do we print all this shit? Can we download it?
Correct. Yep, as a PDF.
Should we print out our assignment too? Both of us
You can.